It's never too late for late game reviews. This is Mr. Lion and
Game Bite
from the future, apparently.
from the world of tomorrow.
And I think we have some room on this one to start off with news, especially with the announcement this week of the Zelda. When you saw this, what did you feel about it?
I cried. There was a tear in my eye.
Just sobbing, couldn't wait to get back to Hyrule to go.
I know. I don't even have a Wii U yet, and I was already like, it's beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing ever.
So to you, it looked like that's $500 right there.
Exactly.
Because you know you're not just gonna pick that up. You're gonna pick that up and Smash Brothers and like
Smash.
the other 4 games you've been waiting on.
Oh yeah, that one. And if Metroid ever comes out, I'll get that one. And I even looked into Hyrule Warriors, and I was interested in it.
Does that thing does it connect through HDMI?
I think so. Cause I was looking into the upscaling of Wii games to the Wii U, and they did say it had HDMI.
Because that means you can use my card to record it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Games that I don't even play will review them. Early game reviews.
Ooh,
That's what
well, I
we'll
gotta
call
get a
those.
Wii U first, so might take
All right,
a
so
while.
that's all you gotta say about the new reveals. And in case I have no idea how
Well,
much in
there's
the
not.
future you're watching this, but there was just announced a new Zelda game. It's open world. They had announced it maybe 3 or 4 months ago, but they showed a little bit more of the game today, and that's what I'm talking about. So that's how you felt when you saw it. Get Gamer Bites is, oh yeah, it's pretty good.
There's not really much you can say about it. You know, they only showed like a
But there's
minute of
tons.
video.
There's tons to say about it.
No, you can't review it now. I mean, it's 1 minute. They ain't gonna give everything away. All they did was show the horse riding, and that was it. I mean,
Okay,
you
there
can't.
was what?
I mean, you can't really judge that much on
Oh,
that.
I could judge. I could judge. I'm going to reserve that for just a second to talk about what did you think about the gaming awards show at all? You know that that's where it came from, right?
Yeah, but I didn't watch it.
So you didn't care. There's that guy Jeff Keighley used to come out in the Spike TV one, and then I don't know if they kicked him off or it just wasn't profitable, so he went off on his own, and now it's his thing where it's just the game show or whatever, where he's doing it. He collected everybody, and he made it a thing. So you don't care. It's like whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
All I
kind of
he-
my. Go ahead.
all I heard was Zelda, and that was it for me.
Well, there's more announcements than that. They said like everything that they've ever made for Sony's coming out again. Of course, FF7 is coming out for yet another platform, which I can't complain too much, even though I don't think I'll ever get a PS4. It'll be there for future generations to look at that English. They released a little bit more information and had, I think they even had Reggie there show up to talk, so it was like a kind of a legit thing. The only complaints I heard was it wasn't that fantastic and that they didn't go over the genres that some people wanted, like racing games. And that's kind of what I wanted to say about it. It's like, well, I don't think anyone honestly cares about that. I honestly don't even think like the Oscars are that well respected anymore. It's just not a big thing to have, because who are you gonna have judge the these events? A small group of people that are looking for a very finite view of what they like, and it doesn't reflect what the people in general like, and that's just movies. When you talk about games, how do you even judge something like, I don't know, what BioShock Infinite and Gone Home? Like, how do you compare those two games? Well, you put them in different genres. Well, what the crap genre is Gone Home in? Like, and then what about even BioShock Infinite? Where would you put that? Is that just a first person shooter? So you're gonna put that in the same area as like Team Fortress 2? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And then, well, what about like TF2? Are you gonna leave that out of the words completely because it didn't come out this year? I don't know. I don't think a game award show should be a thing. I don't know why. Like, yes, awards should be given to exceptional performance or games, but how that would come around, I don't know. And I don't think that they're, by following the Oscars as a format, is a thing that will lead us to that correct direction. You got anything to add to that?
Nope.
Of course, of course. We're actually going to talk about the whole point
I
of
mean,
this.
I don't. With games, you know, we already got the whole system of people reviewing it and people doing reviews and sharing their thoughts. I think that's good enough. You don't really need an award show for it.
See, I'm saying there's an inherent problem with an award show for gaming, and you're just saying it's not really needed. But we're gonna talk about that. But before I say that,
I mean, we've come this far without it. I mean, why really need one?
I think the argument is that it's in order for us to be, or for gaming to be taken as seriously as film now, it needs a way to award itself in a sophisticated manner, or at least that's kind of what they're all trying to do. Is they're trying to mimic these other media and say, look, we're as respectable as you are. We can do your stuff too. We can get into these museums. We can do this stuff. And I do like that we're gaming is in a sophisticated way in bigger museums now, but they're trying to follow too closely the steps of other media when gaming is absolutely its own, and we'll have to find our own way to gain respect. And I think it's mostly time, honestly. It's time and fixing all of the hate that people, just the ugliness that can be when you're at and when you have anonymity online. Anyway, but it also leads to that Zelda, thing came out, the Zelda gameplay, and I think that's the biggest thing that happened, as far as I know. I mean, they also accidentally leaked Street Fighter, whatever, but I guess I'm just a bad person, but I don't think that community is that enormous. It's a fair size, but it's not that big, the fighter community, and then it's even niched out more for specifically Street Fighter. But the Zelda thing, I think, affects more people. More people are interested in what that could mean. And he even said that, Star Fox is going to come out before that, right?
Yeah.
Without even a picture to give us. Whatever, that's a jerk. But what I will say is... What?
I was going to say, he wanted to generate some buzz, get people talking.
Mission accomplished thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely on my mind. But what worries me now... Zelda or the Nintendo people have given me enough good games to have the benefit of the doubt, right? That it's hard for me to strictly shoot down what they create. I mean, they came out with Mario Strikers. If you've never played that game is a blast even now, if you can even find it, because it's like one of the harder ones to find. Everybody buys them up. But what they create is a lot of fun. Well, everything that has been shown about Zelda, this new Zelda game, has just concerned me so much, because it opens up by saying we're gonna have an open world game and you're gonna be able to go to these vast expanses, and why is that a good thing? Why is having an enormous area that is basically empty but looks pretty a good thing? Why is it a good thing that Epona no longer crashes into trees? I mean, I understand that it makes sense that a horse doesn't crash into trees, but on my end, it's like that means you have to do even less to get around. So is that even a game when you're just pointing at a you point that thing, you click a green dot to point where you want to go, you roughly point Epona in that direction, and she'll make her way over there on her own. Why am I even playing? Where's the mechanics of going around? When you play Mario 64, you jump every 10 seconds. You bounce off of everything. You jump over this. There's not a moment at which you're not putting input and thinking and actually participating in the game itself. In these open world games like Skyrim and this one that they're proposing right now, they're set in a time period where there wasn't quite something like that to do. So it's like they don't do anything. They just walk. They just hoof it. And it ends up going very slowly in a very large map with not because you can't have things too close together or it just makes the world feel weird.
No.
So you have these big expanses where there's nothing happening. You're not really finding anything. There's not significant area. It's not significant enemies, and you're not actually putting any inputs in there. You're just watching the game run. If your game has to have an auto walk,
Lion,
you've done something wrong in a single player game. Go.
Lion. Man, take a breather.
Hey, I'm finishing my sin. I got something to say.
Your sentence? That was like a whole biography or something.
I make complicated sentences.
Anyways, to be fair, like I said before, that was only like a minute worth of gameplay. This game still has like a year to go before they release it. They could do a lot more between now and then. Who knows? I mean, like I said, they only showed a little bit. You don't know
You
exactly.
say that, you say that and you say it like, oh man, they could revolutionize gaming, and you know, Nintendo is a company that could potentially revolutionize gaming, so it is possible
I mean,
that they can pull something out of that. But what they're saying in those interviews, it's more than what they're showing. What they're saying is our focus. We didn't show the combat system. We didn't show new items. We didn't show a new story. We didn't show online components. What we chose to show on the first two things in
they don't
which people
give,
are going to see is... No.
They don't want to give anything away.
That's the dumbest thing ever. No, a teaser, when you first release something, is designed to get people excited. It's a promise to people, like I've said all the time. When you look at the new Star Wars thing that came out, there are a bunch of promises in there that give us information. It tells us about what they're focusing on. There are some, you know, trailers out there that lie, and we balk at those. We don't like those. Nintendo has not been one of those companies that tries to push, you know, oh, we got 3D graphics of blah, blah, blah. They tend to push, you know, this is what our game is about, the look of the game, and it changes. And that's what they're telling me. They're telling me this is an open world game that is Zelda. And that worries me because so many open world games are plagued with issues, and the ones that do it right, or at least that do it better, are almost never set in a time period where people rode horses as their primary mode of transportation. Sorry. And that leads me into quick teaser for next review. We're going to talk about Saints Row 4. You know, we're playing through right now, and I have a lot of things to say, but one thing that they do right in Saints Row is the way you move. When you're moving from point A to point B in Saints Row, you are constantly aware of where you are, what's around you, and how to jump. And there's even little things to pick up as you pop around. And man, that makes it a game. You're not just moving. You're not holding an auto run button to get from here to there. You're not on a car. You're not riding Epona down the streets of whatever the crap Saints Row city's called, and having her dodge traffic for you. No, you are actually participating in the motion. And I mean, that's mostly what's fun about that game, is getting around. I don't want to get too far into that. We haven't got that far. Maybe the second half will wow me in a different way. But I am worried about that. And again, Nintendo has done enough to make me give them a little bit of latitude. But it is concerning that they're stressing this open world thing, because I don't see any benefit. When people say open world, I say, oh, it means I'm going to be spending forever walking to nothing. And that means there's going to be missions that are pointless for no, you know, just, oh my god, I'm not. It even goes, okay. I don't want to go too, we're going to talk, okay, it even goes against the way that they design dungeons. They design dungeons to where you come in one direction and you get this experience as you go through it. All of them have been like that. And to remove that, because they're even said that in the first one, where you can go into dungeons your own way. And what you end up with is something like Far Cry, where you don't have a real well-built, designed, you know, map area. You've got this one that's kind of a mishmash, since you don't know what the player's going to come in with and what they're going to have when they do it. And it's not Zelda. It's not that game. And that works okay for Far Cry, because that's what Far Cry is. But Zelda was not that. Zelda was different. And I'm scared. I'm very worried. Every word that they've said so far has just made me more and more worried. Oy. But today, I wanted to. We're gonna. The review is not as, you know, focused as I hope the other ones are that we're gonna do, because I want to get this out of the way. One of the big things between us, and why I think our little commentary will come in handy, is that I am definitely not, and I wanted to come up with a better word for it, but I could not. I am not a casual gamer. I am. Gamer Bytes calls me a serious gamer, but I wouldn't, because that kind of says that one is more than the other, and I don't believe that. But he is a casual gamer, and that allows us to have completely different takes on everything. Like the Zelda thing, I had this whole plethora of thoughts and focuses, and, you know, all these ideas that are flowing through my head from the little bit that they gave us, and he was like, yeah, I might get a Wii U. I might get a Wii U. So I wanted to focus on the casual gamer side and try to understand how they live. It's like a whole other species to me. So this episode we're calling casual games are the people that play them. And one of the interesting things that I like to watch is that Yearbytes has how many games do you have? You have like hundreds of games by now, right? Including the consoles.
Wait, it's my turn to speak now?
You should have talked at any time.
What? What?
You
I
could've
can
talked at any
speak now?
time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I am a casual gamer, unlike Mr. Lion over there. I literally have like 100. Let me check real quick. In my Steam library, I have 121 games, most of which I don't even play.
You even have like console games and stuff like that, right?
I got the Wii, I got the Xbox, the original one. I don't even play it. I mean, not the original one, the 360. Before they redesigned it, I don't even play it anymore. Most of the games that I liked on it, the Fallout 3, Oblivion, even Left 4 Dead 2, I was able to get it on Steam for like $5, and it's just so much better. I have all those games, and I'm pretty casual about them. I usually like to jump in and I'll play around for like 15 minutes, and then jump out. You know, I'm I'm mostly into single player games. I'm the type of person that likes the story and like to upgrade and play around and all that. Multiplayers, for me, it's okay. I don't really get competitive about them. I don't really get into them. For instance, I play Team Fortress 2, and one of my favorite maps is 2 Fort. And again, I'll jump in and I'll be there for like 15 minutes, run around, have fun, and then jump out, and then I'll be done. There's even times I'll even jump online and play a flash game. I'll go to addictinggames.com and just
Well, you're giving ads. You're giving ads to somebody that didn't pay us nothing.
Ah,
You'll go to an undiscriminate website.
well, that's
Just
the
kidding,
name of the
just kidding.
site. I mean, that's
I'm
where I
just
go.
kidding.
That's where I go. I'm not advertising or anything. That's just where I like to go because they have good games. What's nice is they'll just post up the score right there to see how good the game was or how popular it is, and I'll just click on it and start playing it and see how it is. And most of the time, it's pretty fun. I'll just play around, burn some time. It's
See,
great.
and when I hear that, it's like, all right, so I've got hundreds of games that span multiple consoles. I have a whole bunch of computer games. I have a pretty powerful PC. I mean, he's not running like two Titans or anything like that, but I don't know if there's a game right now that he can't run at least high, except for maybe Unity, because nobody can run that on high right now. But most of his time when we talk about stuff, the games that he's willing to play through from beginning to end and dedicate a fair amount of time to are flash games and mobile games. And see, I'm not. I don't want to say that casual gaming is the game you choose to pick. That if you played Bejeweled, you're a casual gamer, because that is just not the case. A casual gamer is Gamerbytes. He will play a game and only dedicate so much of his mind and so much of care to the game. Like, he has a certain amount of eye care, and he gives so much to his truck or his car. He gives so much to work. He gives so much to tying his shoe, and probably between those two, he gives that much to a game. So when it's a flash game with a fairly small amount of things to think about and about a lure to learn, he'll give it enough to pass the time on that. But then when it comes to these super good crazy games where you could put a whole bunch of time into to improve, you just won't put much into it. And I'm not saying that that's a wrong way to play or anything, but that's what I count as casual. It's not about how much money you spend, and it's not about the games you choose to play. It's because I know a lot of casual gamers that spend a crap ton of money, more than I do, and actually spend a lot more time than I do playing games as well. But when they play them, they don't pour themselves into it. It is simply a way to spend an hour. And when it's over, it's over. And I think that's casual for everything. If you listen to music and you do that, you just casually listen to it. You're not looking for something that's going to move you. You're not trying to find a niche for yourself. You're just listening to it because it's on in the background and you like the beats, which is the worst thing I've ever heard. And it's the same for movies and stuff. And that is to me what a casual gamer. And that's partly why I wanted to do this episode early, because I'm going to talk about casual gamers, and I know that people get offended by that, and I know that meanings are very fluid when a thing is not real. I mean, casual gamers are not really a thing, but that is my definition for it, and it's kind of what separates me from Grassy. It's not time, it's not choice of game, because we are even playing the same game. It is the time, the thought we put into gaming. What do you think of that definition? Oh, go ahead.
Now, let's give everybody an example here, and our recent example is Dragon Age. This is let me describe to y'all how I play Dragon Age. I go in, I make my character, I gather my companions, and when I go fight, I'll play in like third person. I won't do the overhead camera view. I'll play as like my main character, and I'll click around to the enemies, and I'll just click each of my little abilities to fight them. I won't put like any strategy into it whatsoever. Once in a while, I'll click to my other companions just to heal them up, but most of the time, we're doing okay. We just fight the enemies. I know they have that little tactics ability where you can switch everything out to how you want it. I don't even mess with it. Then there's the item system where you got like the traps and all that stuff. I don't even mess with those. I just like full blown go in and just fight, and I'm okay with it. That's how I like playing the game. I find it the most easiest and I guess casual in Lion's case.
See, he says it with scorn. He says it like I'm saying something mean to him, but I don't mean it in that way. And I would, if you want to see him play, go to Help Me Not Suck. That's Help Me Not Suck, no spaces. That's the channel on YouTube, so it's YouTube/Help Me Not Suck. You could see the video where we did a review of that game and watch him play. And if you're unfamiliar with the possibilities that are available in that game, I mean, it may make you think that it's just a third-person action game, and it is absolutely not a third-person. It is closer to Baldur's Gate than it is to any third-person action game. So there's like all of this stuff you can do and learn, and he found the most basic, simple way to play possible. And that's fine, because supposedly he's there for the story, but to me, it's just like he's just there to spend some time on the game. Like, that's what he does. He spends time on the game. Versus when I play, the time I spent is thinking about the game, thinking about my character, thinking about, my tactics, testing the mechanics. And that's why I want to play the game on the hardest setting to try to learn. Although that game's a little cheap, and I don't quite do that. But what also kind of affects is affected by the way that we view games is the games we choose to play. For me, most free-to-play games are kind of a waste of time. A lot of them are built with a certain idea in mind. It's very simple, very limited, and built to be put out quickly so that you can try to make some money. So a game like, in my opinion, Ghost Recon is a game like that. It's a game with very limited scope. It's a game that it's more, I'm gonna pretend to be a shooter versus actually making a quality first-person shooter. It's under the guise of this who sees who first type of gameplay, where all guns are almost completely accurate. Everybody practically crawls around the screen, and once you see somebody, you shoot them, a couple of shots, and you kill them. So it's extremely limited in scope. And when I see it, that's what I see. When Grassy sees it, what do you see when you see Ghost Recon?
Call of Duty.
Don't.
I just see another shooter game. I mean, I'll click around once in a while. I'll get bored, and I'll be like, let me go check out the free-to-play section on Steam. And I'll click it, and I'll be like, this game looks interesting. As long as it's not an MMO. I'm not really big on MMOs. So it's like, okay, they had this one, the Ghost Recon Phantoms. Let me go ahead and try it. So I tried it, and I played it for a while, and I was like, yeah, it's just like most first-person shooters. I played it for a while, and then I pretty much dropped it after that. I got in a few times and earned a couple items and leveled up, and that
So
was
you did
about
actually
it.
play the game.
Yeah, I did play it, but
Were you
it's
surprised by anything?
just some of the abilities that they have. They were kind of unique. Like you can do your little shield charge, and there's like some little disruptor fields you get, and that was about it. Most of it was the same as like I guess TF2, where you have like.
Don't even compare it to
So-
TF2. Don't even compare that.
I mean,
Disgusting.
that's the only similarities I'll say that they have between them is that you got your objectives that you got to do, and that's about it.
Okay, you mean like capture point?
Yeah.
That's like every game that's that type. That I would not say that's like I wouldn't put those two games in the same sentence. Never. That's sad news. That's sad news. That kind of also extends to that one day, on a moment of weakness, when you convinced me to try Loadout.
Loadout was
Now-
fun.
What?
Loadout's fun.
Loadout is okay. Loadout is fun the way, those when you go to those little.
You see,
I'm aging myself. but-
I could tell the difference between you and I on this one, and it's mainly because there is no real strategy to it. You just like pick your best loadout and you just go crazy on everybody else, and that's pretty much it. You know, you got to race with your little flag to reach the end or whatever other objectives you have. There's no real strategy to it. You just go crazy, and that's what I liked about it because it's one of those things where you could just waste time on it, and that's about it. But I have a feeling because there's no real strategy, that's why you didn't like it too much.
I didn't like it because there was no room for real strategy. Like, it was designed with the idea of pretending like there's strategy, but there is none. So, oh look, you get to build your loadout and try to be good with it, but you can't tell what the enemy loadout is, so you have no idea what they are possible to do. Somebody who's blowing fire out of their thing may actually be healing. You can't tell that until they actually start doing it, so you don't have enough information to actually come up with a strategy on how to combat them. Like in TF2, real awesome first-person shooter, when you see an enemy, you have a lot of information. You see it's a scout, you know what a scout can do, you know a scout's mostly range, the speed they can go. You have a lot of information just by viewing them, and when you see multiple of them, you can have an idea of what your best option is. Running, backing up to a corner, getting into a hallway, waiting for, you have an idea of what you can do, and those are very split-second decisions, but you have a chance to come up with them. In Loadout, you can't, because anybody could be doing anything, and the guns are just, they look so similar, you can't gauge what's possible with them quickly enough to, or even at all, honestly, to come up with a strategy. And then, on top of that, they have warping. There was only a couple of, when we played it at least, there was only a couple of game types. They have warping checkpoints that are almost random where they pick, so that means that the entire map can't be designed around a balanced, assault for two teams. It's just like wherever it is, and then you run out there and everyone's just sort of shooting at each other. So what ends up happening, which I'm sure it's happening now since the game has been out for at least a year, right? Is you have a couple of loadouts that are better than the others because of reasons, because that's the way it is whenever you have a tree of things. There's almost always one better tree, and you've got the players that have been playing long enough to be using those, just wrecking the other players who are actually trying to have fun with it now. And I knew that, we got in when it was still pretty early, so nobody really knew what was going on, but I'm almost 100% positive if you jump in right now, you're going to find those players that have been around for a while very effectively using their builds and very tightly limiting what your options are, because it's just the kind of game it was. I mean, I didn't hate it. It was just like, this is, why am I and then he made you get that friends list. That was dumb. We're in Steam. Why not use the Steam client? Because
They might have. I mean, it's been quite a while since we played it, and they've had quite a few updates, so they probably changed things since then.
Yeah, I doubt it was for the better. We'll see. You could try it again. I was done with that before I played it. I was just weak that day, and you were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's play it. Sometimes you steep so low, in my opinion, that you even play games that you only have to sit and wait.
Oh, yeah.
Which one of those do you play?
I think it was called Click Heroes. Again, it was on that Addicting Games website, and I think it's kind of a new thing, right? Where you just go in and you do like a few things, and you could just let it sit there. They called it idle games, and that's it. You just go in and you play it for a little while, and it starts playing while you're not even there. The goal of this game was, uh, you click on an enemy that shows a little enemy on your screen, and you click on it, and it does damage. It doesn't even fight back. It just does damage, and then it dies, and it gives you gold. And you go to the next level, and you get gold again, and you keep getting gold, and eventually you earn enough to upgrade your character or unlock another one who's at the time like twice as powerful as you. And then you earn more gold, and then the next one up will be twice as powerful as him, and you can unlock all of them and upgrade all their abilities, and it just keeps going and going and going. It never ends. And that was, and it actually scored a pretty high score on that website. I think it was like a 91 out of 100.
That is like distilled, casual. I don't know how you could possibly make a game even more casual than that. That is insane. I would have zero interest in a game that you don't actually play. I guess at that point you'd even have to start defining what playing is to see whether it landed on the right side of that.
There's also a couple of games I have on my phone. Mostly the what do they call them? They're like Clash of Clan games where you build up a little base and you build up a little army and you collect stuff and you earn more money. I have like 4 of them on my phone. It gives me like a weird sense of satisfaction just building up stuff like that, and it's great because you don't even have to really waste time on it. You just jump in, collect your stuff, go fight another player, and then you're done in like 2 minutes. That's why I'm able to have like 4 of them, so I could just go between them all real quick and then move on with my life.
Does that even count as playing though? If you're not even there and you pop in for a second to do
Well, you have to collect stuff, so it doesn't
you don't
like
actually collect anything. It's doing it.
yeah, but you have to be there like because one of the main things they have in common is mana and gold, and they have these things that'll generate them both for you, and then you have places to store them. It won't automatically put them in the storage for you. You have to go and actually click on them to put them into the storage so they can generate more, because there's only so much it'll generate.
Oh my god, that's 2. There are extra credits. If you've never heard of it, is a fantastic show. There are 2 episodes that cover these 2 topics perfectly. The first is on these waiting games, which he talks about it in a good light because it's this new genre of games that are coming out, and he spins it as good as they could possibly get. I just simply do not at all understand the if I'm gonna play a game, I would actually like to play the game. I don't see the point. I mean, if I want to watch a movie, I watch a movie. I don't see any entertainment value in that, except for the other episode, which Extra Credit talks about the Skinner boxing, and it's this idea of exactly what you're talking about, where you give a sense of false satisfaction by giving minor goals and flashy successes, and you could get somebody to get into this psychological trap where they're getting this, again, false sense of success when they're not actually getting anything or learning anything or gaining anything. And I just can't see it. I can't see it. I'm trying. I don't see it. I wish I could view from that angle where your fun comes in. Where does the entertainment come in? Other than this, yeah, I clicked on something and the numbers went up. So you can't define it?
Not really. I just like to jump in and play games.
Well, you also said that you don't like mobile games. I mean, sorry, MMOs. Is there any particular reason why?
Well, for one, you gotta, or The big ones you gotta like pay for them. I'm not really into the whole monthly subscription on a game. That's why I'm afraid to try Eve. Plus, I heard it's not very casual friendly. Uh, plus, it's one of those things that I'm afraid, like WoW, that I might get sucked into it and spend like hours upon hours and even lose sleep on it.
Have
I
you
don't
ever lost sleep from a game and spent hours on honors like that?
know.
So you're just like an alcoholic who's never actually drank anything.
I mean,
You're like,
there
man, if I
there
drink it.
there's an occasional game, for example, Mass Effect 3 and what was the other one? Dead Space 3, where I get into it and I'll end up like beating the entire game in like 4 or 5 days. But it's not something I'll actually like stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning to play.
Well, I mean, I would actually say that WoW is more for a casual gamer. Yes, you can definitely play WoW in a non-casual way, but the vast majority of people, it's pretty much just a chat room for them, a chat room that you can occasionally click things on.
So, but
Either
now
Go
that's
ahead.
another thing. I'm more into single player games than I am multiplayer games, and I know from some of the videos I've seen of WoW, you usually have to find groups of people to hang out with so that way y'all can complete missions. I'm not really too big on it. Even in Team Fortress, I really don't have a group that I hang out with. I just go in and just run around like everybody else and just be crazy. I don't actually set up a team and schedule stuff and be like, oh, we're gonna meet at this time and we're gonna practice this and capture the flag and all that. I'm more of a like by myself type gamer.
Sadly, not enough people try to play TF2 as an actual team. It's sad days, sad days. It's quite a good experience if you can manage to get into a team that tries to play like a Highlander game. It's a completely different game at that point. You start seeing the potential for what that mechanic offers. Versus when you get in like a 32-32 insta spawn, low gravity party 2 fort, where it's just a mishmash of junk and
I love it.
you can't see anything.
I love it.
T-Fort's like the worst map for all classes. I don't know what class would enjoy 2-Fort.
I do. And
I don't think
that
it's true.
see that's another thing about a casual and somebody serious. Like you usually stick to one class, don't you? Don't you stick to the sniper?
I try to learn one class, and I have learned. If you look at my time span, I learned the spy. I spent months getting good with the spy. Sadly, that stuff is not like a bike, and it takes me a long time to get that skill back up. But I did spend a lot of time on that, and then I spent quite a bit of time with the demo. Um, and for the very very beginning, I spent almost all my time with just the sniper with the bow, and it wasn't till like literally my third year of TF2 when I decided I'm gonna let my bow go and learn to play with the proper rifle, and that's what I do now. It's only been the last couple of years that I've been using the rifle as my primary on the sniper.
See, now that's one of the things that separates us. You'll pick one or two classes and then you'll practice on it to try to get a lot better. Me, I'm more of a situational type person. If you look at my stats on TF2, they're almost even between classes, mainly because I choose a class based on the situation. Like if there's too many people, like if there's too many of the light classes running around, I'll jump in as a pyro and then I'll start burning everything. And then if they start taking me out, then I'll switch to something like a heavy, uh, to to have like a little more defense. If everybody's rushing into our base, I'll switch to engineer. I could switch to between like 4 or 5 classes in one single match.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty common, but I think you do it because you try to find the easiest way to win that match. And when I'm playing to learn my character. So I'm not trying necessarily to win every match. And occasionally, if I get invested, like if there is a good team and we have a good team and we're having a good game, then I'll be like, all right, I want this team to win, so I'm gonna try to switch classes to whatever we need for that moment. Usually medic. That's what people tend to need, and I've spent quite a bit of time training up my medic. But my goal without that, because most games at TF2 honestly just boil down to a bunch of people just running around, is to practice my class. And when it's not ideal, when our defensive line doesn't exist and there's scout everywhere and enemy snipers are cheating and all this stuff, that's like the best chance. It's frustrating sniping against that, but if you can learn to manage to hold your own in that, then it makes it a lot easier when you get into a game that's not like that. Or it makes it to where if your team is doing okay, like I could take a team that can kind of hold mid and turn it to a destruction. Just I'll pick a spot and nobody will get past me at that point. And hey, that's because again, I'm playing to get better. I'm playing to learn. I'm playing to practice. And yeah, I'm not taking it as seriously as definitely some people do, but it's not. I don't think taking it seriously is a bad thing. And if I have any like negative thoughts towards casual gamers, I think it's because a lot of people have given me grief for taking games seriously. It's like, well, what the crap have you been playing it for if you don't want to take it seriously? What? Well, and I'm not saying we're gonna like get all mad when we lose or anything, but at least try. Yeah, if you want to play a game, at least put some effort into it. Why even do it? If we go out and play basketball, and you're there and you're just like limply, dribbling the ball, and you're like, well, I don't really want to count double dribbling, and well, I don't really want to count boundaries, and well, it's not really about shooting. I just want to be out here. It's like, well, freaking go sit in the park or something. We're playing basketball. That's the way,
I think the last game that I was ever serious about was...
You were serious about a game? Don't lie.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Which game was it?
I believe it was Modern Warfare 1, the first one.
Describe to me what you think serious is.
I put some time into that game. I put some time to level up and, do a little bit of strategizing. It was great. I didn't get to reach level 100, but I got pretty far. I would play that game for hours, and then you know what happened after that? Steam is what happened. I think that's one of the biggest things now. I'm so overwhelmed by games that I don't really feel like sticking to just one. Cause I'll do that sometimes. I'll bounce around between games in a week. I might play TF2 for a while, a few days, and then I'm like, you know what? I feel like playing this other game that I like, so I'll go and reinstall this other one, and I'll start playing that one until I beat it, or I'll get pretty far in it. Like Dragon Age, I beat it once, and then I started again as a rogue, and I want to say I probably got a little bit halfway through it. I started exploring some of the DLCs ever since I got the Ultimate Pack, and that's about it. I haven't returned to it yet. And I really, honestly, don't feel like going back to it. I don't know. I just feel like jumping around,
Yeah, but see, the thing is not the amount of time you spend in the game. That's not what makes you casual. The thing is that when you do decide to play them, you don't want to invest anything. Like what in that Call of Duty game that you say you take seriously, what did you invest other than just time?
That's about it. I mean, that's really all you could invest. I mean, there was no in-game transactions. Everything that was there, you would unlock by leveling and earning achievements.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like training. Did you go to forums and read of little tactics you can use, or different weapon loadouts that you could specifically use against other ones? Did you find a guild or a group and start trying to train up against them, or did you find a specific place where you knew the best players were and you're trying your best to get better? Did you focus in on a couple of weapons and try to find out the best ways to play with them and significantly improve your play?
No, not really.
Or did you just get in there and waste time?
Pretty much.
See, that's kind of trouble. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how I could never do that. When I get into a game, I can't get in there and say... and I'm sure you're not alone. I'm absolutely positive you are not the only one out there who can get into a game and just not care. And just, I don't know how to do it.
Now, here's another thing that I like to do, believe it or not. Quite a few of these popular games, they both have single and multiplayer. And believe it or not, I actually prefer the single player to the multiplayer. And Modern Warfare 1 was one of them, and even Part 2, where I would actually enjoy playing the single player more than the multiplayer. I could even say the same for StarCraft, believe it or not. I actually like the single player campaign of StarCraft 2 than I do the multiplayer.
And I think that's more about failure than it is about actually liking it. You want to win, and you can win against computers. And when you play people, you don't know what's gonna happen. Sometimes, like in TF2, sometimes you can do a game where there's someone who's exceptional. A good demo man will wreck a team. It makes it very hard to do anything, and then another player will become his medic, and you're like, oh my god.
There's more of a goal in single player, because it's like, okay, you're in this mission, you're in this level, and it's like, go do this. And if you go into multiplayer, it's like, okay, this is team deathmatch, everybody fight each other, or everybody capture the flag. You know what I'm saying?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like when you're playing multiplayer, it's kind of a mirror thing. You can push one way and then they'll push back the other one, this and that. But with a campaign, you just move forward towards your end goal and then complete your objective.
I don't know, to that effect, I do make my own end goals. Like when I decided to switch, because I liked the bow and arrow with in Team Fortress 2, I knew that it was a limited weapon, and I knew it was not a serious weapon, but it was fun, and I got very good at it because I understood the arc and the timing, and I was just very good with the bow. But I knew if I wanted to play a sniper like in a team, you have to know how to use the rifle. So I made a goal myself where, I first passed it on to Micro, and I said, Micro, can you get me a strange rifle, a standard sniper rifle, but a strange one so I could count my kills? And I made it my goal to get a couple of hundred kills to rank up that strange rifle, so to focus on just using it. And right now I think I might be probably at least 5,000, maybe 5,500 on it, and 5,500 kills. And I do stuff like that when I decided, okay, I need to learn how to fight close range with this rifle. I got into a map specially designed to have 1v1s at relatively close range, and a whole bunch of them fast. So I trained that up, and I spent weeks fighting people in the least optimal situation to get better. And now I'm not afraid when, or I have a good chance of killing a scout even if he's right next to my face, because I've done it so many times. So that's like the goals I set for myself. You never do that when you're in a game. Try to set a goal.
Nope.
Is that the difference between casuals and non-casuals? Is if a goal's not set for you, you're not gonna care about it?
If I do have a goal, it's usually one, and that's to finish first place on like a team deathmatch or free for all.
Yeah, but then if you haven't even spent time to learn the game,
see, like what you were saying, you got the strange rifle. For me, I actually have a strange the burner, the default burner for the pyro. I have a strange one of those, and I just go in it and just burn everything and just rack up points for that. In other words, there's really no skill involved for it. You just go out and do whatever.
I don't know. The default burner is pretty great. There's quite a bit of skill. I think the pyro is the only one whose default weapon is not the best. I think the degreaser is actually better. Just about everyone else, their default is the best. But it's not strictly that. It's my own inside rules. Like when I play League of Legends as well, I'll come up with goals of trying to make sure I buy as many wards as I possibly can, just to get the feeling of the cost of those wards and get the feeling of the amount of information they give you. I do that for a while, and then I buy way more wards than I'm supposed to buy. This is when you could put more wards down. Now I think you're limited to only 3. But this is when you could put as many as you could down. So I would buy a crap ton of wards, get used to that cost, get used to losing that money, and then start putting them down and get used to what that vision provides. And then I scaled it back to a more reasonable level to where now I actually can buy wards, not burn through too much of my money, and not be afraid to when you're losing. I understand that even though we're losing, a couple $100 in wards will be cost effective since I know how to use them now. And so those are the goals I set, and I try to accomplish them. And you just don't do that.
League of Legends, not a very casual game, is it? I've
I think
I've
it can.
well, I was gonna say, yeah, I've played it. We actually both play it. Lion plays it a lot more than I do. I jump in occasionally. I it's a fun game, but I really never got into it. Mainly because you got to dedicate at least an hour to it, and that's one of the things I don't like. Mainly because I am a casual player. Like I said before, I like to jump in for like 15 minutes and then jump out. But in this game, they everyone will get upset at you if you try to leave early. When I first played, I started out as like Ash, and then I started playing Corky, and that was about it. I never actually tried any of the other characters. I might have tried one or two others, but I really never got into it. There's a lot of strategy involved, a lot of thinking and planning, and it's not really.
You just say it with some. You just spit it. You're like thinking
I'm
and
not.
planning.
I'm. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it's not my type of game. I mean, I do think it is fun, but it's just I don't really have the time to dedicate for that type of game.
That's the exact opposite of me. I want a game with depth. That is the biggest thing, and that's why when I play Loadout, I see it is shallow. There's nowhere to go, so I'm done with it. It's got to have depth, or it's got to be something that's completely new to take me through an experience that I haven't gone through. And I've played a lot of games, so it can't. It has to actually be a significant improvement, or maybe something polished to a point at which another game not aesthetically polished. That's the way you win a casual's heart. You polish your aesthetics, and then you promise them whatever. So you get Lord of the Rings, and you make it look okay, and you promise them this is going to be the best. Every choice you make is going to affect the game entirely, and all casuals will swoon at the opportunity to play your game. And that's what a lot of mostly AAA titles do, and people buy them, and people get this. I don't know. I guess if you don't set your own goals and you're okay with, collecting 12 skins, that might be enough for you. I don't know. It just does confuse me that, because that's all that WoW is a ton of little bitty missions to do. So if you want a game with little bitty missions to do, I mean, you don't get to the stuff that you're required to have raids for months. You're not gonna, especially your first time around, you're not gonna level to 60 or whatever, for 6, 7, maybe a year if you don't know what you're doing. That's a year's worth of content that you could be getting in there for 15 minutes to do one mission.
You want to talk about walkthroughs?
That's like the ultimate freaking casualness.
Yep.
Now, I could do walkthroughs only when they're like speed runs, or they're doing something that's completely different. That's just to get to. I can't watch Let's Plays either, for the most part, unless the person themselves is exceptionally entertaining to push past that. But walkthroughs, okay, once in a while I'll pop onto a walkthrough to see, like I said, a different ending or something. But that's not how you watch walkthroughs.
Yeah, I'll watch most of it. If it's a game that I don't have the console to, like if it's a PlayStation exclusive, like God of War was, I'll go up and watch a walkthrough of it, and I'll just like watch the whole thing. If I feel that like it's too long, I'll just like search for a video for the boss battles. Those are the things that interest me the most, and I'll pretty much get like the whole story out of it. I don't find them too bad. Sometimes if I'm just interested in it, if I'm thinking about getting a game and I'm just curious to see how it is, I'll even look that up. I looked up what's the new Zelda one?
Wind Waker?
No, the
Skyward Sword.
No, the one after the Dynasty Warrior.
Yeah.
Hyrule.
Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, I looked up that one because Yeah, I just vaguely heard about it, and I was like, I wonder what it's about. And I looked it up, and I'm like, hey, this is a pretty cool game. So now if I ever decide to get a Wii U, I'm for sure gonna buy it now. I like it. I watched enough to know what it was about, but not enough to like ruin it for me.
For a casual gamer that has not played freaking Dynasty Warriors is just a weird thing because that's also very you just swing the sword, you just click 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 and you beat whole armies.
I never actually
Like
heard of it till they compared it to Zelda, so I was like, what? They had this game out?
they compared Zelda to it because it came out
Oh,
first. There's a
my
lot
bad.
of iterations. Well, yeah, I see. See, when you say it, it sounds reasonable, but if you actually think for a second what he's saying is he'll watch a game and he'll watch a walkthrough of it and he'll count it as done. Like, yeah, I did it. That's the end of that. I don't need to play that game. But just going through the walkthrough, and even more than that, he'll watch this game, and if he notices, oh, this is too long of a walkthrough, just a walkthrough to go through, he'll watch just the bosses and count that done.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know if that would offend me if I was a game, if I had created a game and it was all long and somebody would just, or it's just like you read the cliff notes, you go to wiki, you read the cliff notes or whatever, and you're like, yeah, that was a pretty good book, this is a pretty good book, and then you move on. It's just you don't see you don't see it in that light.
Nope. I see it as I did not have to spend $60 and waste so many hours watching it or playing it.
Why even play games then? That's not even a game at that point. If you're just watching the just go watch a movie. They have there's a couple of games with okay stories, but for the most part, you're looking at AAA titles, and most of those games very basic stories that are not that exceptional. You could easily watch a TV show or an anime or a movie and get a better story. Why waste
Now,
time watching that?
now don't get me wrong. I don't do it for all the games that I like. Mainly the ones that I feel kind of iffy about. That oh maybe I'll play it someday. But if it's like something that I'm really like, that I'm really into, I'll go and I'll actually skip the walkthrough. I actually did that for I think it was Dead Space, the third one. I was all excited about it, but I didn't want to actually know what happened, so I skipped it all together and I went ahead and just played the game. So if it's like what other ones like Metroid or Zelda, like if they did the real Zelda game, not the Dynasty Warrior ones, I wouldn't watch the walkthrough. I would actually want to go and actually play it.
I guess. I don't know if there's a game that I would find interesting enough for me to not want to play it, but at the same time be okay with watching a walkthrough. I always hold out hope that one day I might play. I mean, I didn't play Dragon Age till what, years after it came out? If I had watched the walkthrough, that would have ruined a lot of that game. Or like Walking Dead, man, that would destroy that game. Have you seen the walkthrough Walking Dead?
Nope.
Okay, Jesus.
That
Definitely a game worth buying.
that's one game I might not ruin. I might actually get it someday, but
You're just gonna watch the bosses.
right? Wait, they're bosses?
You gotta play it to find out.
Right?
Or watch the walkthrough and ruin everything. One or the other. They should have warnings on like Twitch stuff, because they play games and just give away a lot.
Some videos do that. They'll say spoiler alert.
Not on a Twitch. You're just watching the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Alright, so that's roughly what I wanted to cover today, so that we have an idea of not only the difference between us, but what I view as a casual gamer, because I definitely am going to want to look at things from both lights and stop and think, well, if you're the kind of person that wants to play for just a little and not give it much mind, maybe you're just a busy person and you just don't want to think about it, you get into this to not be serious. That's where you want to hear Grass's opinions, but it does make it to where a lot of times I'll talk more because I have a lot to say, because I got passion for these things. I have a lot to cover. When, you know, there's a lot of mind processes that go on while I play these things, and it gives me a lot to say. And I think a lot of times you don't have that much. You're just like, yeah, it was all right, and then it's like, okay, well, I guess I gotta keep going.
Yep.
See, he's like the weatherman from Futurama. It's gonna rain. That's it.
It's a good game.
Yeah, that's the Grassy review. It's the 10-second, not even the 3-second podcast with a 2-minute intro.
Yep. All right. So is that
All
it?
right, well, next review, I want to be a real review, and we're gonna talk about Saints Row 4. We both played it, or we're both gonna get further on it. Hopefully,
Or
possibly finish it by then.
Or we're trying to play it when it doesn't crash.
Hey, you're giving don't give away the review.
Oops, sorry.
That's for next time. That's for next time. So that's a teaser right there for everyone. Yeah, we'll talk about that game, and hopefully it's a good thing.
All right.
All right, we'll see y'all later.